people don't understand why I was so long in trying to find out what was going on. Uh, there are a number of things that I would like to say about what I finally learned. Part of the reason why I'm going into this is because there are things that I learned that I think it's critical for anybody within the sound of my voice to listen to. Don't ever sign a contract when you don't know who the people are. If you get you know where I fell off the wagon? I fell off the wagon in that second when he said, "Is this Alan Holly?" And I said, "Yes." "Would you be interested in auditioning for an audition for whatever?" I said, I guess so." That's all he needed to know. He could immediately execute his agenda. That's all he needed to know. I got off that phone not knowing who he was, because after he found out, he could hustle me and get off the line real quick so that I didn't find out who the hell he was. Now, I would say to anybody who gets called, if I wasn't so new to camera, I was immediately aware of how hostile. I thought to myself, why is this guy so hostile? He's the one who's calling me. And that right in itself should have been a red alert. Because if an independent agent is calling you to try and get you to it, he doesn't behave like that. If it's an independent, he wants you to get the job. He'll stay on he ingratiates himself by telling you who he is, who he works for, what his phone number is in case you have questions. He wants you to get the job because his commission will depend on you knowing all about it and doing a good job. So he doesn't be. That's what I didn't understand. This guy had a totally different agenda, and once he found out I was on the hook, then he could get off the phone before I found out what was going on. That was on purpose. The point is, I found out that it wasn't me. All my life I thought, oh, you dumb bell, you did 2 phone calls and you didn't even know who the heck was calling you. They didn't mean me to know. That's why I didn't know. What a person must do if somebody calls them, before they say it's like a soldier when he gets captured, he says, they say, what's your name, serial number, and shut up. You tell them, if a person gets on a phone, before you give them any information, even, yes, I guess so. Before you give them any information, don't tell them any more information than your name, so they know they have the target they're going after. But before you go any further, say, before we discuss all this, I would appreciate knowing who I'm talking to. Could you give me your name and the agency you work for? And I'd also like to have your phone number in case I have any questions about what we're about to discuss. If I had done that, he would have had 2 choices. To lie outright, for which he could be caught for fraud later on, or to tell the truth and let me know that I'm talking to my would-be employers who are conning me. Never give any information. Also, in terms of a contract, if you're doing a one-shot and you're always, it doesn't matter. However, if you're going to give your life to a series, one of the things that you have to be aware of is what usually happens, and this certainly happened in my instance. I was stuck with that first contract because every single contract I signed was based on that original contract as the armature on which everything was built. As a matter of fact, if you look at my contracts, it goes as referring to the thoughts of January so-and-so, as continued by January ... and these went all the way back in steps to the first contract. So that was the armature on which all the other contracts were built, with the upgrade of a $25 annual increase, which when in 1971, when she gave me something with her left hand, She took away with her right because she gave me a 2-year contract, was more attractive, 2 more years of solid whatever, but reduced the $25 upgrade to $15 a show. I didn't see that until years later. Read the small print, for goodness sakes. And do understand, the first contract you sign is the most critical because it will usually function as the armature on which everything else is built. So you better get that first contract right.
So what's your recommendation for that? Should everyone have a lawyer review it? Should an agent should review it? How should people go about making sure that that first contract is okay?
By making certain from the get-go that you're working with a lawyer that you yourself have chosen, and certainly not anyone else.